Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Amy.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're going to be discussing Until August by Emery Rose.
The first few minutes, we're going to do a brief review of the story without any spoilers. Then we're going to shift into the deeper book discussion, which is going to include lots of spoilers, but don't worry, we're going to let you know before we do the deeper discussion.
That is right. So Amy, why don't you give us a brief description of Until August?
All right. Until August is part of a series of standalones and can be read without having read any of the others. It's an emotional story which takes on an interesting twist to the traditional love triangle. Nika La Vega meets Cruz, her one true love and forever and always, but a cruel twist of fate robs them of a future. As she works to navigate through life, August Harper, a hot tattooed chef, swaggers into her restaurant and takes over her kitchen, and of course, he claims her heart too. This is a second chance romance with good food, coastal beaches, and redemption. Sarah, what did you think of Until August?
Okay, Until August. It was very unique to me in the way that it dealt with grief. Nicola is grieving the loss of her husband, and it wasn't in the way that I had kind of anticipated it to be. I've never read grief from this perspective. I found it very interesting. A lot of times when we read stories, you know that I like to get into the mindset of the characters. If I disagree or I agree with them, regardless, I want to understand their perspective and why they do the things they do. And if I'm being completely honest with this, I kind of struggled a little bit with some of their choices. Yeah, I didn't understand some of their choices that they had to make and the reason behind it. So it was very eye-opening to me how some people handle hard life decisions and the dilemma that they feel in having to make those decisions. I also love the story because in it, there's a redemption story. And you and I, we both love a redemption story. In August, he has this really tragic kind of downfall in his personal life and loses everything. And I loved watching his character succeed. You couldn't help but just cheer for him. So to read the story and see the approach that Emery Rose took on how Nicola is going through the grief process, and then just the redemption story for August and how these characters face these life challenges and just come together in the end. It was really beautiful. I really enjoyed it. What did you think?
So, like you, I am a sucker for a second chance redemption story, and this was a beautiful portrayal of that. While there were some hardships for them to overcome, I felt like the story of hope was really just remarkable in this story. I really just enjoyed, like you said, getting in the mindset of the different characters, and it was just a beautiful portrayal of redemption, which I loved.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's get into our ratings. Angst.
Okay, Angst. I gave it a 2.5. I didn't feel it was really too overwhelming. I wasn't tense the whole time. Again, there was like those hard decisions that we talked about that they have to face, and then are these two characters going to get together? How are they going to get together? But I didn't feel it was overwhelming. What did you rate?
So I gave it 3 out of 5.
Okay.
While I wasn't constantly having that sense of anxiety or dread, there were some components of time throughout the story that I was nervous. Most of the angst I felt like was in the last quarter of the book, which you would expect.
Yeah.
All right. Humor.
Okay. This one was just a 1.75 for me. It didn't feel like humorous throughout, but there was these little moments of you kind of chuckled.
Yeah.
There was some internal thoughts and stuff and a few things. So that's...
Yeah, I did 1 out of 5. Like you mentioned, I mean, comedy is not the overwhelming feeling of the story. There were a few laugh out loud moments for me, but overall, it was definitely focused more on the drama, I felt like.
I agree.
Okay, Spiciness.
Spicy. Okay, I only gave it a 2.5.
Oh.
I did... What? Did you rate it higher?
I was higher than you, but keep going.
Okay. I didn't feel like it was super spicy. It had some good moments, but it wasn't like constant throughout. Now I'm curious why you rated it so high.
I gave 3.5, and I know it's not the spiciest book that we've ever read by any means. It's not like Dark Spice or anything like that. But I felt like the amount of scenes that were in the book was enough to bump it up a little bit for me, and the scenes were definitely descriptive that were in there. But I also felt like August's inner dialogue was crude to me, so that kind of bumped it up a little bit more for me.
I can kind of see that. Did you feel like there was a lot of spicy scenes in there?
Not a lot, but compared to some of the ones that we've read recently, I just felt like there was more.
More, okay.
Not that they were, like, over-the-top spice, but...
Sure. Okay.
Not the spiciest we've ever read.
I'll allow it.
She allows. All right, tears.
Okay, I gave this a 3. Not because I actually cried. I did cry at moments. There was a moment in the story where Nicola has to make a very tough decision. But what these two characters face and endure, August, the trials that he kind of goes through, and Nicola is really dealing with some very heavy stuff in this story. So it was pretty emotional for me, but not unbearable, if that makes sense.
I also did 3 out of 5. I felt like some of the things that the characters had to deal with was saddening to me. I didn't cry real tears because I have a heart of stone.
Right there.
But I did feel very saddened for them. So that gave me the 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, overall,
I gave it a 4.
Okay.
I thought it was a really good story. It dealt with, like I said, grief in a way that I never read, and I really enjoyed it. It was very compelling. I liked it. What'd you give it?
So I did 4.25. I loved the redemption aspects of the story. I like that it focuses on 2 chefs. I always like to learn about the inner workings of a kitchen, and so that was fun and delightful to me.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed the redemption part. So overall, it was really great story for me, in my opinion.
Story.
All right, that concludes the quick review for this story. If you want to hear the full discussion of this story for us, you can find us on any available podcast platform by searching Post-Book Depression. Once you've had a chance to read the story, find us on social. You can find us on Instagram at Post-Book Depression Podcast, on Facebook in our discussion group, Post-Book Depression Discussion Group, and you can always email us at postbookdepressionpodcast@gmail.com.